You probably think you know how language works. I mean, we all learned it in school, right? Nouns, verbs, how to build a sentence. But what if I told you that's only half the story? Today, we're diving into the hidden rules of communication, the ones you use every single second without even thinking about it. Take a look at this sentence. My house is on the corner. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? It's just a simple fact. But what it's really doing, what it actually means, well, that's way more interesting than it looks, and you're about to see exactly why. So here's our game plan. We're going to look at two different ways to see language. Then we'll break down this idea of form versus function. We'll see how one sentence can mean a bunch of different things, and then flip it. And finally, I'll let you in on the real secret to being a great communicator. All right, first things first. We have to get out of that old classroom mindset. Because the way we learn language in school is one thing, but the way we actually use it out in the real world, that's a whole different ballgame. Think back to this classic school scenario. The teacher holds up a pencil and asks, "What's this?" The student says, "It's a pencil." Now on the surface, that's a correct answer. But doesn't it just feel a little off? A little weird and unnatural? It feels weird because, let's be honest, it's not real communication. They can both see the pencil. The teacher isn't actually asking for information. What she's really doing is testing the student. She's asking, can you make a grammatically correct sentence about this thing? It's a language drill. And that's the huge difference. Real everyday communication is all about doing things with our words. And that brings us to the absolute core of this whole thing, the idea of form versus function. It's the difference between the words we literally say and what we're actually trying to do with those words. So, first up is form. Think of this as the building blocks. It's the grammar, the vocabulary, the rules of how you put a sentence together. It's the what of language, the literal words coming out of your mouth. This is the stuff we spent all that time on in English class. But then, there's function, and this is the why. What's the speaker's goal? What are they trying to accomplish? Are they asking for something? Warning you? Apologizing? This is the real-world purpose, and a lot of the time, it's not spelled out. It's hiding just beneath the surface. Okay, let's go back to our sentence. The form is super simple, right? Subject, verb, prepositional phrase. Easy. But the function, well, that changes everything. If you say it to a cab driver, the function is stop the car. If you say it to a friend on the phone, the function is here are the directions. And if you're talking to a realtor, it might be a subtle way of bragging, my house has a bigger garden. See? One form, so many different jobs. So this idea that one sentence can have multiple jobs, well, it leads to something really cool. It means a single string of words can have all these different meanings. And the key to figuring out which one is intended, it's all about context. All right, look at this one. He should be there. 4 simple words, but on their own, they're kind of a blank slate. What am I really trying to say? Seriously, before I show you, just take a second. Think about it. What are some of the different things I could mean when I say he should be there? What could I be trying to do? Well, depending on the situation, it could be about obligation. Like it's a mandatory meeting, he is required to be there. Or it could be a deduction. Like his plane landed an hour ago, so he should be there by now. Or it could even be advice, that concert sounds amazing. He should totally be there. The exact same words, but they're doing 3 completely different jobs. This brings up a pretty big question, right? I mean, if language is this flexible and slippery, how on earth do we manage to communicate at all? How do our brains figure this out so fast without getting totally confused? Well, it turns out our brains are incredible at this, and we use 2 super powerful tools. First, context. If we're talking about your money troubles and I say, let's go to the bank, you know I don't mean the riverbank. Simple. Second, we use shared knowledge. If we both know our professor is in the middle of a lecture and someone says he's writing his book, we instantly get that they mean he's writing it in general, not at this very second. Okay, so now let's flip this whole thing on its head. Just like one sentence can have many functions, we can also use a ton of different sentences to achieve one single function. This is what you might call our communicator's toolkit. Let's say your function, your goal is simple. You want someone to close the window. You've got options. You could be direct, please shut the window. You could be indirect, wow, it's cold in here. Or you could be really polite about it. Do you think we could have the window shut? All three are totally different sentences, different forms, but they are all aimed at doing the exact same thing. This shows how conversation is kind of like a dance. It has these predictable steps. Linguists even have a name for them, adjacency pairs. Basically, one kind of function invites a certain kind of response. If I apologize, you're probably going to accept or reject it. If I ask permission, you're going to grant it or deny it. It's this call and response that makes our conversations flow so smoothly. So, how do we wrap all of this up? What's the secret that really separates the average communicators from the truly great ones? It's all about learning to master both of these worlds at the same time, form and function. We're constantly, and usually without even thinking, choosing the right form for our function based on a few key things. First, our intention. Are we trying to be polite or blunt? Second, the context. Are we at a party or a funeral? Third, our relationship. Are we talking to our best friend or our boss? And finally, the medium. Is this a quick text or a formal report? Getting this choice right is everything. And this isn't just some new idea. The linguist H.G. Whittleson absolutely nailed it when he said that learning a language isn't just learning grammar. It's learning how grammar functions to actually make meaning. It's not about throwing out the rules. It's about understanding why the rules matter in the first place. So the secret, the really big takeaway here, is that it was never form versus function. The real magic happens with form plus function. You need the right grammar and words to build your message, for sure, but you need a clear purpose, a clear function, to give that message power and meaning. And that's what I want to leave you with. The next time you're about to speak or write an email or send a text, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what am I going to focus on? The specific words I'm saying or the thing I'm actually trying to do? I think you'll find the answer changes everything.